Hey guys, it's Bree. Today we're going to be talking about The Lie Tree by Frances Hardinge. This is a newer release. This is from Abram Books, who I've really been liking what they're doing with their Kids Imprint Amulet. I've never read anything by Frances Hardinge before, so I picked it up because I couldn't resist the cover. The cover looked so cool. And then Rachel had read it and told me she quite enjoyed it, so I finally went ahead and read it myself. There's a lot that I really enjoyed reading this. It has a really interesting premise and really, really interesting character development. The story follows a girl, Faith, whose family is at the time of the very start of the book, moving to this small island from London. Her father is a world-renowned natural scientist who found this fossil of what appears to be a human with angel wings. This is during the, I would say, probably mid to late 1800s. And Faith is a young girl who admires her father very much. When they move, Faith realizes that something is really, really wrong. Her father is becoming increasingly secretive and agitated. Her mother won't tell her why they moved. And for some reason, their entire life seems to be upended for no real reason. As the story goes along, Faith realizes that there's been a scandal, though she doesn't know what it is, and her father becomes increasingly secretive. He's hiding bits of his botanical studies and going off into his office for hours at a time. It's something that concerns Faith, but she's almost more scared because nobody else seems to be concerned. Nobody else is coming up and telling her this is what's going on. And as the story progresses, Faith's father is found dead at the edge of the island. Faith is left to kind of try to discover why her father was what she thinks is killed. And all in the face of her mother, who's kind of just trying to keep the family together and keeping them out of additional scandal. Her uncle, who's trying to manipulate his way into their wealth, and of course nobody seems to want to believe that her father was killed instead of committing suicide. Faith is an extremely clever character and kind of hunts around her father's life. It takes a long time, but she starts to uncover these kind of magical elements to her father's studies that I found were really interesting. There's a lot I really enjoyed about this book. Faith is, I think, a fantastic character. She's a very clever young girl. She's 12 years old, but very, very bright. And she's really precocious. She's not really willing to believe that she's not clever. Everyone in her life is telling her that girls can't be clever, girls can't be interested in science, girls can't do this and that and the other thing. Girls basically are just there to grow up and be mothers. And Faith doesn't want that. Faith wants something more tangible out of her life, something out of the norm, I should say. And so she's fighting that conception. She's trying to struggle with her relationship with her father. She very much admired her father, and now that he's dead, she's uncovering all of these things that make him less of a good person than she had thought he was. And on top of that, her relationship with her father was really pretty strife to begin with, because her father didn't believe that she could be clever. Her father didn't believe that she could follow in her footsteps. At one point, her father goes so far as to say that she's just another mouth to feed and a drain on the family resources. I thought this was really an interesting element to the book because that particular relationship is very complicated. And Hardinge goes ahead and creates another really complicated relationship between Faith and her mother. Faith's mother is, in Faith's eyes, vapid and shallow and overly concerned with what people think. She's a very charming woman, very pretty, but not really interested in the kind of things that would, Faith thinks, make the world better. And throughout the story, this causes conflict because Faith's mother is really just trying to prevent the family from kind of being haunted by this tale of their father's suicide. Trying to convince everyone that it was an accident. And being, flirtatious and kind of half courting the people in the town who would be like the medical examiner in order to do so. And Faith just finds this deplorable. As the story goes on, Faith and her mother kind of continue this tension, but it becomes much more interesting when Faith starts to question why. That's an element that happens at the end that I thought was really well handled. Faith is so smart, and she kind of undergoes this mystery and searches for it in an almost like Nancy Drew way. She follows the clues and kind of tricks herself into being in areas where she can find those clues, and it's a lot of fun in that respect. There's a lot of action. You wouldn't imagine that, but there's like chase scenes and underground caves and falling into water, and all sorts of really things that keep the pace of the book very high. And one of the really interesting things, the book's obviously called The Lie Tree. There is something called the Lie Tree in the book. And one of the things that Faith has to kind of deal with in trying to uncover the truth about her father's death is the moral dilemma of, is it okay to mislead someone to find out the truth? And when you mislead someone, how bad do you have to feel if you're only telling a little lie and then they take that little lie and make it bigger, right? If you're just planting the seeds of dishonesty and letting it grow, is that the same thing as being malicious? What consequences from that is she responsible for? I really, really liked this book, actually. I think it was a fantastic read. Again, I'm really impressed with what Amulet's putting out. If you've read The Lie Tree, you should let me know, because I think this was a lot of fun and I'd love to talk about it. I hope you're having a fantastic reading week. You know the drill. Comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.